Happy Monday, April 13th, 2026. I mean, a brand new week is starting today, and I am just so glad you are tuning in. Wherever you are right now, maybe you're, commuting or just having your morning coffee, really take your time and listen to this one all the way to the end.
Yeah, absolutely.
Because we are unpacking some truly vital information today, and it is specifically for your benefit. But before we get into the heavy stuff, we really just want to thank you for all the support on our previous discussions.
Oh, the engagement has just been incredible lately. We read all of it.
We really do. So please hit subscribe, drop a comment, like, and share this deep dive so others can benefit too. And actually, do us a favor and drop a comment right now telling us which area of immigration you want us to talk about in our next deep dive.
We base a lot of our topics right off those comments, so definitely let us know.
Exactly. Oh, and real quick, if you want to advertise your products or services here on the Deep Dive, you can reach out by sending a detailed message to deepdive247@gmail.com.
Right. And just to set our boundaries before we really get going today, we need to explicitly state that we are not IRCC certified consultants.
No, we are not.
We are not here to give legal immigration advice. We are simply here to provide a deep analysis of some really complex regulations. We try to explain things in a, friendly, simple, and hopefully captivating way so you actually understand what's happening behind the scenes.
Which brings us exactly to why we're tackling today's topic. There is just so much recent news flying around the internet right now, and unfortunately, some fake travel agents are beginning to severely misinterpret the new rules for their clients.
Yeah, it's becoming a real problem. They're exploiting the confusion.
It really is.
Yeah.
So to clear the air and protect you from that misinformation, today's deep dive is exclusively unpacking Canada's 2026-27 Foreign Credential Recognition Initiative.
And, it's a massive policy. But just looking at abstract federal budgets doesn't really explain how it works for a real person.
Right, the numbers don't tell the whole story.
Exactly. We really have to walk in the shoes of an internationally trained professional who is just landing in Canada.
So let's lay out that roadmap. I mean, the initial steps are practically muscle memory for anyone in the system, right? You get your Canadian Educational Credential Assessment, the ECA, just to prove your foreign degree matches a Canadian one.
Right. The ECA is step one, but then you hit the language tests. And this is where the friction really starts.
Oh, the duplication.
Yes.
Yeah.
Historically, professionals had to take one set of language tests just for immigration. And then, they tracked down the right provincial regulatory body. And that body would demand an entirely different language test.
Just for licensing.
Exactly.
Yeah.
The feds are finally trying to align these requirements to stop that costly duplication. Because it's not just annoying, it costs a fortune. They have to submit all these documents, pay application fees, pay exam fees, and then try to get into a bridging program or examination phase.
Right, and that drains the exact money they need to survive while they wait. Let's actually bring this to life because I think a personal story really highlights this. Think about an internationally trained nurse. Let's say she lands in Canada tomorrow.
Okay.
Under the old system, she might have been told, oh, your credentials don't perfectly match, and she'd basically have to start her nursing degree all over again.
Which is just a massive waste of her experience.
Exactly. But now, instead of doing that, she enters what's called a practice-ready assessment, or a PRA.
Right. The PRAs are game changers.
They really are. Instead of sitting in a classroom relearning basic anatomy, she takes these targeted competency assessments. They evaluate her practical clinical decisions in real-time scenarios.
So she's bridging the gap between her past experience and specific Canadian standards.
Exactly. It recognizes her foreign RN credentials while just teaching her the local protocols. But my question for you is, with all these hurdles, where exactly do professionals get stuck the most? And how do they avoid running out of money before they actually get licensed?
That is the million-dollar question. Or, well, the $30,000 question in this case. Because the main lifeline the federal government provides is the FCR loan program.
Okay, the FCR loans.
Yeah, these are loans of up to $30,000, and crucially, they are interest-free and repayable.
Oh, wow. Interest-free is huge.
It's a massive help. It's designed to cover those expensive tuition fees for bridging courses, the exam fees, and, just general living expenses. Plus, there are mentorships and really vital pre-arrival settlement services.
Pre-arrival, like before they even move.
Exactly. Immigrants can start learning the licensing steps and compiling their documents before they even touch Canadian soil.
I love that. It's honestly like showing up to play a sport you've played your whole life, right?
Right.
But having to prove you know the rules before they let you on the field. And the rule book is in another language.
That is a perfect way to put it.
So if they can study that rule book before they arrive, they shorten their time on the bench.
Yeah.
But, I mean, this leads to a really frustrating bottleneck.
Yeah, the systemic backlogs.
Right. If the roadmap is there and the loans exist, why are there still so many highly trained professionals driving ride shares or working survival jobs?
Well, because the individual hurdles aren't the main issue, it's the backlogs. And the economic stakes of this are just staggering. Right now, there's an estimated 844,000 Canadians who are underemployed or unemployed due to unrecognized credentials.
Wait, 844,000?
Yes, almost a million people.
That is, I mean, that's almost hard to comprehend.
And when you look at the money, it results in roughly $17 billion in lost earnings every single year.
17 billion.
It is pure, unused human capital. It's a massive brain waste.
So obviously the government sees this $17 billion hole.
Yeah.
What is their actual solution?
So Budget 2025 created this flagship program, the FCR Action Fund. It's a $97 million fund running from 2026 to 2031.
Okay, 97 million.
Right. And for this year, 2026-27, Ottawa set a first-ever numeric goal. They want 58 agreements to assist roughly 32,000 professionals.
Okay, that sounds like a solid target.
And they are heavily targeting the health and construction sectors because those are the areas that are just desperately short-staffed right now.
Right, that makes total sense. But I have to ask about these targets. Because assisting 32,000 people sounds great, but how is success actually measured here?
And that is exactly where the system has historically failed. In the past, the government measured success just by participation.
Like just signing up?
Exactly. If people enrolled, they called it a win.
Yeah.
But the actual license completion rates were terrible. For example, historically, only about 19% of loan recipients fully completed their credentialing.
Wait, 19%?
Yeah, against a 25% target.
That is wild. So setting a target of assisting 32,000 professionals might sound great in a press release, but if only 19% actually cross the finish line to get their license, aren't we just building a bigger, more expensive waiting room?
You're absolutely right to push back on that. Long-term success has to be measured by actual job placements, not just initial enrollment.
Exactly.
But the reason that waiting room exists, the real friction point, is that the waiting room isn't federal. It's provincial.
Oh, right. The regulatory bodies.
Exactly. The provincial regulators have waitlists stretching for years. And they face this immense pressure, right? They have to balance absolute public safety and competency against the government pushing for faster licensing.
Right, because if an unqualified person makes a mistake, the regulator is liable.
Exactly. It's a really difficult tightrope to walk.
So that means we basically have a patchwork system across the country, right?
Right.
Since different provinces have different labor needs.
Precisely. Let's look at the boom provinces, like British Columbia and Ontario. They are tackling this in really unique ways. BC actually established a brand new office for international credential recognition.
Oh, dedicated just to this.
Yeah, and they're piloting provisional licenses in the trades.
Okay, provisional licenses, so they can work while they wait.
Under supervision, yes.
Yeah.
And then in Ontario, they're really leaning on their college bridge training programs.
Actually, I saw a massive success story about this with the Carpenters Union.
Oh, the $9 million grant.
Yes, so the federal government gave a $9 million FCR grant straight to the Carpenters Union, and their goal is to train 1,500 foreign carpenters for their Red Seal certification.
That union-led model is so smart.
It really is, because it's hands-on. They provide language support, but it's specific to a job site, right? So they get the bridging, and then boom, they're integrated right into the industry.
Right. But then you contrast that with the Atlantic provinces like New Brunswick and Newfoundland and Labrador. Their approach is totally different because of demographic urgency.
Oh, because their populations are older?
Right. Shrinking youth populations, rural hospitals that are desperate for staff, they don't have time for long bridging programs.
So what do?
They rely heavily on fast-tracked, 12-week supervised practice-ready assessments.
Wow, just 12 weeks.
Yes. They get foreign doctors practicing immediately, but under very strict supervision by licensed Canadian doctors. If they pass the 12 weeks, they stay.
That's incredible. Oh, and we should briefly note that Quebec operates entirely outside of these federal FCR targets.
Right, because of their distinct selection process prioritizing French language skills.
Yeah. So, I mean, looking at all of this, it's basically like taking 13 different driver's ed courses, depending on which side of the border you live on.
That is exactly what it's like.
But if the provinces hold all the cards for licensing, how can the federal government's $97 million action fund actually force these independent colleges to speed up without compromising safety?
Well, it doesn't force them to lower standards. What the money does is buy administrative capacity. It funds better assessment tools, clears out the manual paperwork backlogs, and helps provinces create mutual recognition agreements. So if you get licensed in Nova Scotia, Alberta respects it.
Oh, so it just greases the wheels.
Exactly. To summarize all this, faster credential recognition isn't just some boring bureaucratic fix. It's smart economics.
Absolutely.
It turns unused human capital into skilled workers. It fills those chronic vacancies in health and construction. And honestly, it just provides fairness to newcomers.
It really does. But, I want to leave you with a final lingering question to ponder today. The government is heavily, heavily targeting this $97 million fund toward healthcare and construction.
Right.
But what happens to the engineers, the IT professionals, the mid-level trades who are completely left out of this focus? Will we inadvertently create a system where brilliant tech or engineering minds are practically pushed into construction just because that's where the fast-track funding is?
It's a very real risk. We
Yeah.
have to watch how these policies actually play out.
Exactly. Something to think about. Well, that wraps up our deep dive for today. Please remember to subscribe, drop a comment letting us know what immigration topic you want us to cover next, and share this deep dive so others don't fall prey to that misinformation online.
And again, if you're looking to advertise with us, send a detailed message to deepdive247@gmail.com.
Thank you so much for hanging out with us today. Have a highly productive week ahead, and we will see you next time.